Good morning, my name is Anisa and I'm well pleased to be having you here with us today. I will be delving into the essentials of the Australian employment relations system with a specific focus on enterprise bargaining, and hopefully by the end of this session you will have a clearer understanding of how enterprise bargaining shapes our workplace culture and operational success. Firstly, what is an enterprise agreement? An enterprise agreement is a legally binding agreement between employers and employees, often through their representative, that establishes the terms and conditions of employment. These agreements can address a wide range of issues, including salaries, working hours, training, overtime, penalty rates, and workplace conditions. Enterprise agreements in Australia are negotiated within the framework of the Fair Work Act and must meet certain standards, including passing the Fair Work Commission's Better Off overall test. This ensures that employees are better off under the agreement than they would be under the relevant modern award. Once accepted, these agreements apply to all employees in the company who come under their jurisdiction, replacing any weaker conditions in current awards or individual employment contracts. What is the current enterprise agreement for Commonwealth Bank? This one is the Commonwealth Bank Enterprise Agreement of 2023. Next, I will be speaking on the 6 stages that are required to establish an enterprise agreement as per the Fair Work Commission. I will be speaking on the first 3 points. What is the first point? In the 6 stages, the first one is developing the agreement. In this stage, representatives of the employer and employees, including unions if ever involved, negotiate the terms of the agreement. These terms can cover a wide range of issues such as wages, working conditions. They can also dispute resolution procedures and offer employment terms. The goal of this stage is to reach a mutual consensus that balances the interests of both the company and the employees. Continuously, in the second stage is the bargaining process. This initial phase involves notifying all parties affected by the proposed agreement of the intent to bargain. Employers must issue a notice of employee representational rights to each employee, in which this informs them of their rights to be represented during the negotiation process. What is the ideal bargaining process like? In a win-win situation, the cooperative one would be the best, only because not only one side wins, however, both sides' interests are represented and they come to a mutual understanding. With this solution, you'll get a win-win, and it also satisfies the needs of all parties involved, rather than each party trying to outdo the other. And the last point that I'll be speaking on is preparing employees to vote. In this section, once a provisional agreement is reached, it must be communicated back to all employees covered by this agreement, and they need a minimum of 7 days to review the proposed agreement and seek any further clarifications of what the agreement contains. This review period is crucial for ensuring that employees understand the terms and the implications of the agreement before voting on it. Thank you.
Okay, so continue after Anisa. So after the step is to prepare employees to vote. Before voting, employers must provide employees with the necessary paperwork and also give an explanation of the agreement to employees, such as provide employees with the precise information during access, inform employees how and when to vote, and make a record when and how employees vote. And next is to apply for approval. If it passed after voting, request approval within 14 days. And finally is commissions issues decisions. To be active, an agreement must be approved by the commissions. And now we're moving on to the legal framework. So in Australia, the Fair Work Act 2009 is the primary employment law. This framework covers enterprise agreement creations, approval, and applications. Essential aspects of this framework including good faith bargaining and bargaining representatives. Fair Work Commissions is vital to ensure company agreements are legal. Employees must submit an enterprise agreement to the Fair Work Commissions after voting, and after that, if FWC will check the agreement for the legal compliance including Better Off Overall Test (BOT). The test assures that the agreement employees are better off than the current award. If the agreement fails to this standard, the FWC may reject or revise it. The agreement must conform with the agreement must conform with the national employment standards, which specify basic employee terms and conditions, and obviously containing no illegal terms. Enterprise agreements cannot contain any illegal terms. And also the Gini agreement. The LLC verifies that the employees agree to the agreement. This involves ensuring employees have time to consider the terms, have access to the proposed agreement, and understand them before voting. The government main goals was to implementing the Fair Work Act revisions to re-establish collective agreement making in the federal industrial relations. Section 3 of the Fair Work Act aims to create a fair and equitable framework for productive and cooperative workplace relationship developments. Moreover, the Fair Work Act aims to rediscover collective bargaining. The law merged union and non-union collective agreements. The Act established two greenfield, multi-enterprise, and single enterprise, along with the two non-union greenfield collective contracts. And to summarize, the enterprise agreements process in Australia have four essential stages: negotiation, drafting, voting, and approval. Regulated by the Fair Work Act 2009 and supervised by the Fair Work Commissions. Employers and employees participate in the good faith talks to establish employment agreement arrangements. Following the drafting process, employees cast their votes on the agreement. Upon approval, the Fair Work Act verifies adherence to legal criteria, encompassing Better Off Overall Test and national employment standards. After that, the contract attains legal enforceability. This framework guarantees equitable negotiations and adherence to legal standards and safeguards to the employees' rights. Agreement often lasts 3 to 4 years.
Unions are bodies that represent the interests of workers in particular industries or occupations. The relevant union for the Commonwealth Bank of Australia is the Finance Sector Union, the FSU. The relationship between the Commonwealth Bank of Australia, the CBA, and its employees, as well as their representatives, has been notably affected by significant dispute in recent years. In February 2024, it was revealed that the CBA had underpaid its employees by more than $16 million. This substantial shortfall in payment led to the bank being hit with a record penalty of $10.34 million, the highest ever secured in a Fair Work Ombudsman legal action. The most important point of the issue stems from the bank's failure to properly implement and monitor enterprise agreements and individual flexibility arrangements, IFAs. These failures meant that employees were not receiving their basic lawful entitlements, and the bank did not have adequate systems in place to rectify this. Specifically, the CBA failed to ensure regular reconciliations and top-up payments were made to correct underpayments. This lack of review led to significant discrepancies between what employees were owed and what they actually received. Additionally, there were instances where the bank misrepresented to some employees that they were better off under these IFAs, which compounded the problem. Over 7,400 employees were affected by these issues between 2015 and 2021, which understandably led to a strained relationship between the bank and its workforce. However, the relationship between the CBA and the Finance Sector Union has shown signs of improvement despite this troubled history. Recently, the CBA and the FSU reached an in-principle agreement on a new enterprise agreement. This agreement marks a significant step towards mending relations as it includes a sector-leading pay rise for staff. Employees earning up to $100,000 will see an increase of 5.25% backdated to July, with further increases scheduled for the coming years. For staff in higher salary bands, The agreement outlines substantial pay rises as well, though the increases vary depending on the salary bands. The new agreement also addresses some past issues by removing junior rates, which could be seen as an effort to rectify previous inequities. This development indicates that the CBA is taking steps to improve its practices and restore trust with its employees and their representatives. In summary, while the history of underpayment and regulatory breaches has undeniably impacted the relationship between the CBA and its employees, recent efforts to negotiate and implement a new enterprise agreement suggest a move towards repairing and improving this relationship. The resolution of past conflicts and the new pay deal demonstrate a commitment to addressing employee concerns and ensuring fair compensation, which could help to rebuild trust and enhance future cooperation between the bank and its workforce.
As we prepare for the next round of enterprise negotiations, it is important to identify key elements of enterprise agreement that could be focus of negotiation. Pay increases are often the main issues for workers and unions. Considering the Commonwealth paying recent low pay, the workers and their representatives are likely to insist on addressing pay disparity and making pay structures transparent. Fair Work of Women 2024. A key entitlement under the Fair Work Act of 2009 is overtime pay. Employees who work beyond the standard hours are entitled to overtime rate. We are usually time and half for the first 2 hours and double time thereafter. Right 2021. According to the National Employment Standard, full-time and part-time employees accumulate 4 weeks of paid annual leave each year. The CQ Charge, Pay the Pay Act 2022 has strengthened employees' right to request the flexible working arrangements, including changes in working hours and location, such as the job sharing and the home working, due to the failure to maintain their legal entitlements under the previous enterprise agreement. Fair Work of Women 2024. Workers are likely to seek assurances that their basic entitlements are safeguarded. In addition to improve employee well-being, flexibility expands the talent pool, allowing companies to attract applicants who don't fit 9 to 10 schedule. Companies that embrace flexible work policies see higher productivity and retention rates. Recommendation for successful negotiations. To successfully negotiate an enterprise agreement, the Commonwealth must undertake comprehensive preparation. Identifying and correcting pay discrepancies would be the first step for the employers. This ensures the compliance with legal requirements and builds trust with employees. Fair Work Commission 2023. Surveys and consultations with employees can provide organizations with valuable insights into employee needs and concerns, particularly entitlements, to assess what needs to be addressed in the future negotiations. It is essential to review past enterprise agreements and compliance issues, such as underpayment. By regularly adopting payroll system and classification practices, any underpayment errors can be corrected before they escalate. PwC Australia 2022. Providing the best possible working conditions for employees while ensuring operational efficiency may require the Commonwealth Bank to combine agreements between different branches or departments. To foster goodwill and prevent conflict from escalating, it is important to collaborate with the finance union. However, in the event of the significant disagreement, both parties should be prepared for the possible industrial action, which may include the strikes or work stoppage. Fair Work Commission 2023. It's important that the bank prioritizes the good faith bargaining, maintains open communication, and seeks early conciliation to avoid costly disruptions. By engaging in good faith negotiations, conflict can be avoided and both parties are working toward the beneficial outcome. This approach fosters trust and reduces a likelihood of industrial actions. If a dispute arises, the parties should seek the early conciliation. Dispute can be resolved before the escalate through conciliation, according to the Fair Work Commissions. As a result, negotiations can be more productive and lengthy delays can be reduced.
In conclusion, our presentation has thoroughly examined enterprise bargaining within the Commonwealth Bank of Australia. Particularly in relation to its negotiations with the Finance Sector Union, we defined enterprise agreements and explored the legal framework and processes involved in their creation. The historical context of underpayment issues illustrates the challenges the CBA faces in rebuilding trust with their employees and their representatives. Our analysis emphasised the importance of transparency and employee engagement throughout the bargaining process. By addressing critical issues such as pay disparities and flexible working arrangements, CBA can work towards fostering a more collaborative relationship with the union and its workforce. The recommendations we discussed underscore the need for good faith bargaining and open communication to prevent disputes and ensure successful outcomes. Ultimately, these insights highlight the path towards achieving fair agreements and enhancing organisational culture at the CBA.